Let's get to this clip. Did you guys play the Cuomo clip yet?
Oh boy, we have not.
All right. So Andrew Cuomo is now on three women who have come out and shared their stories where they felt they were sexually harassed by Andrew Cuomo. And their stories are well told, well backed. If you know who Cuomo is, if you're familiar with anyone who's covered him in New York politics, this stuff is not out there. Like far out there. I mean, this stuff is not far out there. Other instances of this happening is out there, to be, to set the record straight if you were confused by my wording. But Cuomo is trying to defend himself, which obviously always works out really well when you have these allegations coming out against you. And by that, I mean, it never works out. But Cuomo is the type of guy who needs to be in control. That's why he's held on to New York politics for so long. I mean, he is the mob boss behind the super entrenched in corruption New York State Democratic Party. He's the one pulling the strings. And he's got to try to maintain control here instead of, coming out and just actually giving a heartfelt apology. So this is what he's out there saying.
And we did both, and we'll do both here. On the pictures, Marcia, I understand the opinion of and feelings of Ms. Ruhr. And you are right. You can find hundreds of pictures of me making the same gesture with hundreds of people, women, men, children, etc.
Do you touch people with a gesture?
You can go find hundreds of pictures of me kissing people, men, women. It is my usual and customary way of greeting. You know that because you've watched me for, let's just say, more years than we care to remember.
Press pause for a second.
By the way, it was...
It really sounds like he's trying to go with the talking point that I'm Italian, I kiss, and to say that this is wrong of me, you're being racist to Italians. It really sounds like he's going there, but continue with the clip.
Let's just say more years than we care to remember. By the way, it was my father's way of greeting people. You're the governor of the state. You want people to feel comfortable. You want to reach out to them. I do it. I kiss and hug legislators. I was at an event in Queens the other day. Hugged the pastors and the assembly members who were there. So that is my way to do that. However, what I also understand is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter my intent. What it matters is if anybody was offended by it. And I could intend no offense, but if they were offended by it, then it was wrong.
I mean, first of all, Mr. COVID-19 hero over here, using his recent example of hugging people a week ago in Queens. Great job, great example there when there's a pandemic going on and we've been trying to instill it in people's heads for the past year not to touch one another. My God, this guy. But that aside, getting back to what he's saying, I guess you could hug and kiss people and they'll be comfortable with it. Yeah, if you know them and you're friends with them and they're your family maybe, or really close person that you've known for years and years and knows you do this and has let you know that they're cool with it and they're happy to reciprocate back. But that just because you have that relationship with some people doesn't mean that's the de facto relationship you need to have with everyone. What a weird defense there.
Yeah.
What a bizarre. And your dad did it? Yeah. This was what, decades ago? I wonder how many women wish your dad did it. I mean, come on, buddy.
No, it kind of reminds me of this story about there was like a hole in the bathroom wall at this bar where the creepy men would spy on women in the bathroom, and someone found out about it, and they were like, you need to get rid of that hole. And they're like, this hole's been in our family for nigh on 100 years. It's tradition. You try to destroy our traditions? Like, sorry. But
let me defend the peephole here. I mean, it's incredible. This guy's got to maintain control. Also, think about this. This isn't just like a Cuomo issue. This is the head of the New York State Democratic Party. This is the head of New York State. This guy has no doubt been involved with countless sexual harassment programs in terms of how to act in the workplace for how many agencies in New York State, signed off on how many of them. This is the guy who's involved in that stuff. How can we trust anything going on in New York State government politics when we know this is the guy signing off on this stuff? The rot is going down. I mean, trickle down works when it comes to this shit. I'll tell you that much. Yeah. What the governor is doing here definitely trickles down to his buddies down the line. There'll be stories, I'm sure, that come out through all sorts of New York State government agencies, all sorts of different levels of local New York State Democratic Party politics. Don't be surprised when it does. And of course, I feel like we should keep in mind at the forefront of all of this, these allegations are just as important, but also the fact that there is a huge scandal going on where Governor Cuomo and his administration hid the number of people who died due to his plan of sending elderly people back to nursing homes in the very early days of the coronavirus pandemic, when New York was being hit its hardest. We're at over 10,000 people who died in just the nursing homes here. That comes down to like dozens and dozens of people in each nursing home, and we're talking not spread out either. We're talking like the majority of these were like within like the first month or two, which leads you to finding that we're talking like multiple people dying each day, every day for like 2 months straight. Like, what is going on here? How
that's
is this
okay.
Like...
That's okay, because it doesn't have anything to do with sex, right? Like, it kind of bothers me as well that it's the sexual harassment stuff that got him. While that is important, right? It's very, very important. It bothers me that if he hadn't done that stuff, he would probably have gotten away with all the other really, really horrible shit that he did that led to the deaths of many, many people. But like, I don't think, and his statement here is obviously a very clear, sorry you got mad situation. You know, he's like, what I was doing was totally fine. And I think it was fine. But, you know, if people got mad, I guess I'm sorry. Like, can we pull up a photo of him and one of these women where she just looks horrified? He's like grabbing onto her face. Like, this is very clearly a violation of people's personal boundaries. But like,
if I remember correctly, the one you're talking about specifically, she claims she didn't even know him. Like, it wasn't like the other two women said doesn't make it right for them, but the other two women worked with Cuomo. Again, the allegations are still serious and legitimate, but this woman specifically says she didn't even really know him. Like, he was just at the wedding or for someone else, and he comes up to her and just like touches her. It's like bizarre, man.
God. Yeah, and it really reminds me of the Biden stuff too. Right? Like, I really kind of wish that I had said a little more about it on Monday, because Sam and Emma didn't really remember all the other people who'd accused Biden of inappropriate touching, inappropriate behavior, whatever. But like, I think this is just a sign that the Democratic Party, he's a made man. If they tolerate it in the guy who's the president, they're probably going to tolerate it in the governor of New York. And, you know, we'll see what happens. And a number of people have called to remove Cuomo from office. A number of even elected Democrats. Like, has AOC done it yet? I know
she's
that
come out. Yes.
Okay, good.
I think at the very least, she's definitely called for an independent investigation into it, which
well,
I think is Kathleen Rice, who is like one of the more conservative type New York Democrats. She's a congresswoman in Long Island, I believe. She is come out and straight out said Cuomo needs to resign.
And
well, that's good.
one of the establishment candidates said that something not maybe that extreme, but something similar, which says that maybe, people are in the ruling class are ready to pull the plug on this guy if he's becoming more of a liability. And like I want to return back, like I think Cuomo is like this touching. I think it's pretty much the same type of thing that Biden was getting away with, like the constant going up to people and putting your hands on them. I think there's a class of like elite man that just is used to getting away with that. There's also the thing with Cuomo. Like I've seen like reports of reporters who literally were intimidated out of covering New York politics because of like the vendetta nature of this guy. And I think that does get a little bit lost. And I think all this stuff is horrendous. Like like you mentioned the sensitivity trainings. The stereotypical thing is like, don't ask your younger coworker if she's into older men, for instance, right? Like that's like boilerplate script for any of those things.
So creepy.
Yeah.
I mean, these are like very basic stuff. It's not like he got like roped into some like complicated social situation. No, like it's very simple stuff this guy violated in terms of like just basic politeness.